What up, my friends? So, you know, people keep telling me how well everything's going. America's doing great. We're doing this, we're doing that, other than the whole Gaza situation or whatever, right? And so my thoughts are this, right? I ask people right now, like, do you know what Swift banking is? The Swift banking system? Sanctions, right? So June 9th was this past Sunday. And so it's been 50 years since June of 1972, right, I believe, 72, 73, where we made a deal with the devil. Or maybe they made a deal with the devil, but we made a deal with the Saudi Arabians and OPEC. We got off the gold standard under Nixon and Kissinger, and we switched everything to the petrodollar. And we had an agreement with Saudi Arabia for weapons and this and that, and then we'd buy as much of their oil as we could and help them promote it and sell it and produce it. So that's held the American economy here as a superpower for the last 50 years. And as of June 9th, which was a Sunday, Saudi Arabia has chosen not to re-sign the 50-year-old contract. I don't think people understand what that means. There's all these banks failing, right? But they're saying that they're being acquired by other banks and merging, right? That's to hide it. And these wars with Russia and China. Oh, the other thing is that Saudi Arabia also announced that they're going to start selling crude oil in petro yuans, right? So the Chinese petrodollar, basically, the equivalent of the Chinese petrodollar. It's going to take a little while for everybody to divest and sell all of their American dollars. There's more $100 bills overseas than there are in America. We've been printing ourselves into oblivion, counting on this deal with Saudi Arabia, who we've been arming to the teeth. Who said it? I think Dave Smith said it. He goes, you want to know who your next enemy is? See who we're funding right now, right? We've been funding them for the last 50 years. They have, some of the most riches on the planet, right? And they didn't re-sign for the petrodollar. Russia, Brazil, India, China, a bunch of other countries, they're all signing on to the BRICS Accord, right? Which is going to be in Russian or possibly yuan petrodollars, right? China wants to be us. That's a problem. Saudi Arabia wants to be us. That's a problem. Like if they wanted to be like this benevolent, helpful couple of countries. No, they strive to be the world superpower like we were for the last, 80 years. And then again, especially the last 50 years with the petrodollar. And that expired on Sunday. We shut down I mentioned the Swift banking in the beginning of this video. We shut down Afghanistan's money, right? We guaranteed if they banked with the Swift and bank systems, right? Swift bank systems, that their money would be safe. And when Biden had us run with our tails tucked between our legs and gave up all the weapons and everything else, we confiscated their money, right? So people aren't just going to die. They're going to figure out a way to do stuff, right? They're going to do business with their neighbors, which is Russia. Anyway, and so then we sanctioned Russia. We sanctioned Syria, right? Iran. So you got to understand, while sanctions sound good, there's no boots on the ground, this and that, what it does is it does irreparable damage to the American dollar standing in the world. Right? Because other countries will look and go, I'm an ally now, but what if? And other countries are starting to divest. They're starting to figure out, where America's hegemony comes from, and it's directly tied to the petrodollar. If we just mark my words, we're probably going to go to war with them. They'll be on the list. But it's crazy. The more we sanction people, the more we fight with them, the more we push them together. And they're making alliances. You see them shaking hands, laughing, hugging. I don't know where they think this is going. But the loss of the petrodollar is huge. You know, I mean, what are we going to switch back to the gold standard? I mean, it might be possible, but all those other countries that are going to BRICS, they're all buying gold, right? I mean, look at Libya. Libya wanted to start an African currency so that African countries could trade with each other, right? In a gold standard, right? And we took him out. You know, we tried the same thing in Syria. Look at Iraq, same thing. Wasn't using the dollar, right? And actually, what they were gonna do is they were gonna start trading oil in I think like European currency of some sort, right? The euro or whatever it was at the time. And we went in there and made sure that never happened or even came up in conversation again. You know, I mean, look at the Nord Stream pipeline, right? Russia's pipeline that was going into Germany, where they could give gas and oil, whatever, you know what I mean, fuel to Europe at low cost prices. We couldn't have that. You know, the biggest disaster, terrorist attack, and ecological disaster known to man. You know, that methane leak was the biggest that's ever happened on the planet that we know about, right? Anyway, the SWIFT banking, so people lose faith in that all around the globe. Get rid of that, it's going to be very easy to you know, once the petrodollar goes, that'll go right away. I mean, they'll have their own banking system. You know, they're talking about Bitcoin, they're talking about gold, silver, commodities, you know, trading in that so that their currency actually has a value. And they can go back and forth amongst themselves and not have to buy dollars. Do you understand that? Like, whenever there's a transaction done around the globe, like these big corporations and countries and stuff, they have to buy petrodollars. So they have to buy, there's a middleman. We're the middleman, right? So we take the dollars, we weigh them, and we give them that much oil or whatever they're buying. So that's why we're where we're at today, as one of the wealthiest countries in the history of the world. So just remember that, folks. Going into the election, you know, going into all of it, there's going to be a lot of fuckery going on, and it's very dangerous. And I think, you know, the 100-year cycle's coming up. The depression's coming. It's going to be a super depression. You know, we might have 10 years of comfort left. You know, and it'll deteriorate over the 5 to 10 years a lot. You know, and the people who are here are going to have to go down to here, and the people that were there are going to have to go down here, and the people that were there are going to have to go down to the bottom, and the people at the bottom, they might starve. You know, who knows? So be aware, folks. I know I got my tinfoil hat on, made by Adidas, but pay attention. How come it's not on the news? How come they're not talking about June 9th on the news? This is a way bigger story than Trump or Hunter Biden or Joe Biden pooping himself or anything else, or space dildos or underwater fleshlights, and you know what I mean? Like trans robot sex dolls. It's way more important than AI. I mean, I said to my girl, I was like, well, I said, the only thing that we could possibly hope for now is that AI does take over the world and we have 1,000 years of peace. But yeah, man, SWIFT banking, the petrodollar, the agreement, which just expired, which was only 50 years old, you know? In 73, 50 years sounded like a lot. We figured we'd be on the moon by now and using, you know, fusion rather than fission. We'd have jets and cars and TVs hanging on our walls. All we got was TVs hanging on our walls and ripped off. Ripped off of our tax dollars. But anyway, have a good day, everybody. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Day 167.